Good morning. My name is Epelengwa, and today I will be presenting on corals from our TTF03 aquatic biology. So to begin with corals are marine animals that form the foundation of coral reefs. They are made up of individual animals called polyps, which are characterized by the presence of stinging cells on their tentacles. This is the coral polyps, and this is the tentacles, and these tentacles helps them to fight predators. Most corals are carnivores. There are two basic types of corals, which is the hematopic corals or the hard corals, and the hematopic corals, which is the soft corals. So to begin with hard corals, they are reef builders. They contain zooxanthellae, which is symbiotic photosynthetic dinoflagellates, which means that they use photosynthesis to make their own food. And they are restricted in distribution by water temperature and water quality. On the other hand, the soft corals, they do not build reefs, they do not contain zooxanthellae, and they are not restricted by water temperature and water quality. Moving on is the skeleton of a coral reef. But we must all know that coral reefs are formed through a combination of coral growth and reef building structures. It is formed by groups of coral polyps interconnected by thin layers of tissue. This group polyps share a nervous system digestive connection. Each polyp continues to lay down new calcium carbonate beneath the polyp body, so the entire coral colony continues to grow upward. This collection of polyps can collect extremely large size and weigh several tons. So, by looking at this diagram is the anatomy of a coral polyp or the skeleton of a coral polyp. This is the tentacles, which helps them to defend, capture food, and clears away debris. And over here is the outer epidermis, which functions as food intake and waste removal. And over here is the mouth or the digestive filament, which aids in food capture. And over here for us human is esophagus, but in coral polyps they are septum, and it provides support to inner stomach folds. Over here is the stomach where the digestion of its food takes place. And over here is the coinosac, which links polyps and allow them to share nutrients and symbiotic zooxanthellae. And over here is the theca, which breaks down food molecules. Now there are conditions required for coral reef. Conditions required for reef growth to thrive in specific environment conditions are warm environment, shallow environment, clear water with specific sunlight, and appropriate salinity levels. Since coral polyps lives in the sea, they will require a certain amount of salinity to be able to thrive in that environment. And they also need sunlight for photosynthesis purpose. Moving on is the light requirements. As I've already mentioned, they'll need a light for photosynthesis. Light must be able to penetrate the water to the depth of a coral to allow the symbiotic zooxanthellae to photosynthesize. There are also temperature requirements. Hard corals tolerate a low temperature range compared with most marine organisms. High water temperatures can cause coral stress, which can lead to coral bleaching. So this is an example and a diagram of coral stress and bleaching. And how does it occur or when does it occur? Coral bleaching is a natural stress response where coral expel the symbiotic algae, zooxanthellae, living within their tissues, causing them to turn white. So the healthy corals are brown in color, but once it loses it, but once it comes to mortality, it started to turn white, and when it is fully, uh, fully dead, it turns black. There are also salinity requirements for coral, and normal salinity is around 35 parts per thousand, and maintaining a good health environment around 35 ppg will enable them to thrive in their environment and build up more healthy coral reefs. Low salinity can also lead to coral bleaching. Corals do not normally grow in areas where wave action is high because heavy wave action can lead to suspension sediments which can settle on corals causing damage as well as reduce water clarity. Coral colonies can come in a variety of shapes and sizes to build coral reefs. There are three types of coral reefs, which is the fringing reef, and it is directly attached to the continent. So this is the island, this is the coral reefs, the fringing reef. And the second one is the barrier reef. It separates the lagoon from the ocean. So this is the lagoon, this is the sea, and the corals are on the other side. So it also acts as wave breaker. Moving on is the atoll. It is circular reef in a lagoon. So here's an island. It circulates the island, and it also acts as a wave breaker. These coral reefs are vital ecosystems that support a vast of marine life, provide crucial coastal protection, and contribute significantly to human livelihoods and economies. In a nutshell, the coral provides a protected environment and compounds zooxanthellae needs for photosynthesis. And in return, the algae produce carbohydrates that the coral uses for food as well as oxygen. That's it for my presentation today. Have a blessed day.